Hey, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Tremor, and today we are going to continue with the Game Engine series. We are going to implement the entry point since we implemented the sandbox project last time, and the entry point will be the point where a client application like a game or a general application would access functionality from our game engine to start the game. And without any further ado, I'm going to put myself into the bottom right corner and we will start implementing because I don't want to explain too much. I want to show you what the problem is now and how this entry point inside of the game engine will fix the problem. Okay, so bottom right corner it is. And what we see here is the current state of the project. We have the sandbox project and we have the main function inside of the sandbox project. And that also is the problem because now everyone who wants to use our game engine has to implement this main function and also start, run, shut down, and the order has to be correct. And this already sounds like a lot of possibilities to introduce failures and errors, and that would not be very feasible. So what we're going to do is we are going to put exactly these three methods inside of a code file in our game engine project, and then we will include the file here and then call these functions. Okay, so let's start with the entry file. We are going to go into our game engine project, and under source Lucy core we are going to add a new file. It's going to be called entry.cpp. And we are just going to take all the stuff that is inside of the sandbox file now and copy that and include it here. So we're just going to make a game. And that is going to be initialized by the return value of a function, which we still have to implement. Let's just do that. We go into our game class, and outside of the class, we are going to have a function called create game, and that one is going to return a unique pointer to a game object. It's called create game. Alrighty. I'm going to explain this function in a couple of minutes a bit further. Let's just go back to the entry point file. So we can see it here. We still need Lucy here, Lucy create game, and we also need to include the game file, the game class file, Lucy core game.h. It should know this function actually. Lucy has no member of that with that. Oh yeah, we need to include the memory file in the game class. The memory library. So now it knows the function, and it also knows that this will be a unique pointer. And now, since this is a pointer, these need to be, well, this function can go anyway, this call, this can go, and we only need those. Game.start, game run, and game shutdown. That's fine. And that's pretty much everything that needs to be inside of the entry point file. Okay, so now we have this entry file, which contains pretty much just the main method and the function calls that we need. Mainly, we create the game via calling the create game function. And then we have a call to the start method, the run method, and the shutdown method, which are all defined inside of our game class. Okay, so now we have to change the sandbox file. We can remove this. And now we are going to make a class here. This is going to be its own class. We call that sandbox game. It inherits from the game class. So Lucy game. That is an is-a relationship. So sandbox game is a Lucy game. It's its own class. And the only thing we need here is a public constructor, which will take a name, so we can give a name to our game. And this one will be forwarded to the game constructor, which we still have to fit, I think, because it doesn't I don't think we have that constructor yet. Yeah, we don't have that. Okay. Let's do this. We need a string name inside of the... We don't even have the name inside of the game class yet. That's fine. We just write a constructor here, game, which takes a const reference to a string object. That's called name. And we just assign that into the class member name underscore. Oops. Okay. Now we have that, and name will be filled via that. And now this should, yeah, like the error is gone here. Okay, so, and our sandbox game only needs that constructor. And the only thing we are doing here is we are calling the add layer function from our game class. And we're going to say new sandbox layer empty default constructor, no parameters. And I think we need the namespace here as well. Yeah, new sandbox. So now we pretty much have everything done that we need. We have this entry point file, which creates a game object and then calls these methods start, run, and shut down. And we changed our sandbox file. We have like a class now for the sandbox game, and there are no errors. Let's build this. Let's see if it builds. And it doesn't build because it says already what's the what's still the problem, because this create game function that we made inside outside of the game class, yeah, it's not part of the game class, but it's part of the the engine's namespace. There's no definition for this yet. We only made a declaration, and this style of style into in quotation marks is called a forward declaration, meaning that we tell the compiler here there is a function create game, but the only thing I tell you now is its signature, and sometime later, during the compile process, you will find a definition for this function. That's pretty much what this is. Here's the declaration. There's no definition yet, but at some point down the line, when you compile all the files in the project, you will find a definition for this function. And this is what we have to do still. We are going into our sandbox file, and I'm just going to copy this. And just under this here, just under the class, we are adding the definition for this function. So that returns a Lucy game unique pointer. It's called create game still, but we have to add the namespace here now because we want to call the we want to define the function create game inside of the Lucy project, and we don't want to make our own create game function here. We want to use the declaration that we gave inside of the game class here, and that's why we have to add the namespace here too. And now let's just add the definition, and the definition is nothing else than return, and then we use make unique. I have to include the memory library here as well. Make unique. It's a sandbox game. And just give it the name sandbox. So what happens here is the entry point or the main function calls the create game function, and the compiler realized that here's the declaration inside of our game engine, the game class file, and here's the definition inside of our sandbox project in the sandbox.cpp file, and that works because now it finds a definition. And let's just test if it really works, and it should. No errors. And if I run this now, we should see our triangle, and there it is. And I guess you can see already where the advantages are here, because the only thing we need now is we need to provide a definition of the create game function inside of our client projects, inside of the sandbox project. And that's all we need to do. And this could also be just that if we would ship the engine, then we would have a file that says here, this is the main file for your client application that you need. It's just a class that has a constructor that, when it's called, is just adding a layer to the layer stack inside of the game class, which is just a vector with layer pointers. And then it starts the game because it's taking the main function from the entry file inside of the engine and it's calling these functions. And what this does is it makes it so much easier to use the engine, because now you don't have to know which functions you have to call in which order. You can just pretty much copy this, change it to your name of your class, and change all the dynamic values, and then build and run, and you will see this. Alrighty, I'm going back to full camera mode. This was a short episode. I just wanted to get this out of the way because this was actually the last point in our Sandbox project mini-series. And we can now start fully implementing functionality. I didn't have much time in the last weeks. I was busy with work, and that's why there are huge gaps or longer gaps between the videos now. At the beginning of the next year, I will make more videos more often again. We will also start implementing something that we can actually see, some graphics. The next thing will probably be to implement a couple of rotating triangles, because now we have everything the base foundation set up. We have our engine project, we have a client project, the Sandbox, where we can put the text, the test code for our engine, where we can implement a game, if we wanted to. So the foundation is set, and now we can get into the more interesting topics of game engine development. I will also probably make a new, another YouTube channel, because I am playing D&D as well in my spare time, and I want to make a channel about D&D. I will not put this in this channel because I want to have them focused on specific topics. That will take some time away as well, but as I said, beginning of the next year, I will have a lot more time, and yeah, I think it's going to be great fun. So thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, as usual, subscribe and like the video. That helps a lot with the algorithm to boost the channel. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I just say see you next time. Bye bye.